Well, good evening, or afternoon, or good morning, whatever. Welcome to EPIC Lesson 2. As it says there, Fluency, Rise, Fall, and Fall, Rise hacks. Again, like last week, remember last week at the end of the sentence, we had a fall and a rise at the end of the sentence. Kind of the same thing here. So this time, we will put those hacks inside the sentences, not just at the end of the sentences. So that's kind of what it's about. And Tai Chi is basically the Tai Chi movement, like this, one that I learned when I was in Japan. I'm watching the old people like me out in the park across the street, as they would every morning be out there for about 45 minutes for their morning Tai Chi. Great stuff. I've done a bit of it. My wife loves it. And I'm sure many of you have had the same experience. A couple just quick things before we start. Again, last week's lesson, I apologize, was a little longer than usual because I was actually bringing in some things that were in the introduction. Today's will be typical, about 25 to 30 minutes, usually max. Also, may have been some confusion on the link. You look here on the main screen. You can see here is a link to the L2 feedback session. That link will be live. And if you are subscribing, if you're enrolled in the course, then on Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, then just come and click that link and it will take you to our feedback session. And last night, 3 people did email me and say they couldn't come. So I'm working on it. As I said on the announcement page, I'll see if I can find a different time so it fits everybody a little better. My apologies on that. Usually 8 p.m. Wednesday evening works okay. But I'm real flexible and maybe we can find a different time. Maybe a little later at night, maybe even a little earlier in the day on Wednesday would be okay for me. As usual, the links to the excuse me. Links to the training videos there. What I also have on, just in case you're new tonight, or in case you want to go back and review something, here's the L1 training video link right there. And then here's the introduction link. I know at least one person watching this. This is the first time. So there you are. You can kind of review what we've done. And then here's, after I record this, the link to this session, this video training will be right there, linked to L2 training video. Remember, like I said last week, last week we did the butterfly. And the butterfly is very basic. We will use it throughout the entire course. And tonight is the second one, the Tai Chi, this movement or something like it, we will be using throughout the course as well. So lesson 1 and lesson 2 are sort of the foundation, the basis of the course as we go forward with it. So our objectives tonight for this one are rhythm and fluency. And we did rhythm last week, and we'll kind of combine some of the things we worked on last week along with the Tai Chi movement that we'll be doing this evening. The haptic hacks, remember what a hack is? The idea of a hack is something that you do in practice, you do at home, but you don't do during conversation. Now again, you sort of the body movement of the hack, you will feel in conversation, but you won't be actually using your hand for the hack as we did last week, right? So don't do those in conversation. Look very strange. We got 2 of them. Rise, fall means the tone goes up and down, and then fall, rise, it means it goes down and up, like that. And we'll look a little bit at when you do that. And of course, you will practice it in the embodied oral reading as usual. Our warm-up tonight is just a kind of a stretching exercise. I call it the Vowel Lip Shape Up. It's more fun than anything else, but it's a good exercise, particularly if your language, if the lip movements in your language are tighter than they are in English. And this is a good one. And it's also just a good warm-up in general. remember last week? Remember what we did last week? Remember the warm-up? So I would recommend that you quickly do last week's warm-up. Remember the one where you push on each side of your head like that and forward and back? Remember that one? And then we had remember the yin, yang, yang. Remember that? Right? Okay. Then we had the stretch, forward stretch and back stretch. Then we had the elbows, opening up the chest. Again, do each one of those 3 times. So when you practice this week, do the lesson 1 warm-up, those 4 exercises, and then do this one as the second one. Yeah, it's like I said, this one's kind of fun. I'll show you how this one goes. So what you do is, imagine you have something you're talking to here, hi there, right? Kind of like I don't know, like a goose or something you're talking with. And what the goose will do is the goose will kind of go along with your lips. So for example, just go down the side there. Here. So it's E, E, they're touching. They're moving apart slightly. E, I, A, A, Ah. Do it again. E, touching. E, move, open up slightly. I, then A, Ah. You can see we have 2 ahs. We have one down on the left side, and there'll be another one on the other side. Now we'll go to the other side. Same idea. This time it's just with a fist. Just open your fist, basically. Rounded though. So it's O, kind of relax your hand. So it's O, and good. And then ah. So there are 2 ahs. There's one that's kind of in the back of the mouth. Ah. There's this one up here in front. Ah, a little bit brighter. You hear the difference? Ah and ah. So back a little bit further in your mouth. And we, as you'll see, we use them in different ways, different times. So just with your goose over here, and whatever this is over here, fist rolling down the other side, practice those that way. Lots of lip movement as you do it. Really exaggerate your lip movement. And then down the bottom, we have, these are called the, maybe you know the word diphthongs, there's 3 of them. I, ow, and oi. Something you have here the same, you do the same thing with your hands. So you've got over here on this side, I, right? Next with then just do this one on the back side. Now here's then oi. This one you have to have 2 hands for this one. It's oi, like in the word boy. Oi. It's really a I sound. It's really oi, boy, like in boy or toy, like that. Oi. And then down the bottom, we had 4 other vowels. And probably, if you studied pronunciation before, you have not done these vowels, but we use them in the kinetic or the haptic system quite a bit. And we'll get to those next week, in fact, a little bit. And this one, you can see we got 2 of them. It means it's just narrower. So you get this one open, leave your hands just barely touching. This one is E, then tighten and push. E, E. Next one is A down here, but then this goes up and pushes again. So it's A. This is really putting energy as your fingers touch there. Then you got the same thing on the other side. You got oo. So you start with a fist, you go ooh. Be careful if you have sharp fingernails here. Ooh. Got that? Okay. Then the other one is O. So it's O. Do it like this. You can see the oo up here and the E over here. A lot of energy, and your fingers are pushing together very tightly to get you the pattern and the kind of energy to help you remember how to do that vowel a little more pleasingly. I was going to say accurately. No, pleasing. All right. Anyway, there's your warm up. That's a good one. A really good warm up. By the time, do that 4 or 5 times, and you'll see it. Even when after you do that warm up, even in speaking, your mouth will feel different. And that's kind of what we're after, kind of different, more relaxed, more energized. Well, you read this over. I'm going to train you in using we call it Tai Chi. And this looks kind of like a Tai Chi. It really actually isn't, but it looks like it. There's one of the Tai Chi moves that has this where your fingers touch and kind of roll off each other like that. And then the rise fall. Remember last week we did rise, we went up like that. Remember that? This one is, we combine the two from last week. Here's the rise and the fall. So it's rise and fall. Like, how nice. Nice to meet you, right? Like you're jumping over a fence. Nice to meet you, something like that. Then the other one is fall rise. Again, we did a fall last week. This is a little bit different. This one goes down. Your hand is right here, and it goes, push your hand down and then come back up together. So it's, are you interested? Are you serious? Something like that. So tone falls down, then the hands stay together as they come up into the second part. So that's the fall rise hack. Okay, here we go. Let's do the basic training. So this is the one you will do each morning or night when you practice. And this is a very easy one. What you're after here is you're after a movement. And what does it say here as far as the size? Yeah, it's about the size of the circle. The circle is about this. Oh, say here it is, right here. Yeah, hands move in softball, so like a softball, playing softball. So think of it that way. You want your hands, the circle that you draw should be something about like that size. So it's an easy one. So it's just nice. I'll do each one twice. Nice. That's nice. Notice my fingers. Your fingers are really relaxed. So nice. That's nice. Very nice. That's very nice. Easy. That's easy. Really easy. That's very easy. You start speaking down here. So I'll just do the next one. Beautiful. So beautiful. Now that's beautiful. Very beautiful. That's very beautiful. That I'm start speaking down here. That's very beautiful. That's very beautiful. That's very beautiful. It's very beautiful. So both hands are moving. They're both moving counterclockwise from left to right, like that. And the last one is fascinating. Same idea. So it's fascinating. That's fascinating. Very fascinating. That's very fascinating. Fascinating. That's fascinating. Very fascinating. That's very fascinating. I was just noticing some of my circles were a little bigger than a softball, but try to think of it as you want to keep it pretty tight and pretty much controlled like that. Kind of nice flowing rhythm as you're speaking. As you can see, it would be very possible for you to carry on a conversation and be doing the Tai Chi at the same time. It'd be possible. It'd look a little silly, but you could probably do it. In fact, if we're doing private lessons, I will have you doing that sometimes. One of the last things we will do at the end of our time together, we'll do, for example, we do practice the Tai Chi, or maybe even the butterfly. The butterfly is a little more difficult. It is a little more difficult. All right. So again, there's the pattern. This is that was a pattern for the Tai Chi. Now what we're going to do is we're going to do the same thing with the hacks. Here we have the two hacks. We have the rise fall and the fall rise. I'll just do a few. I won't do all of them, but I'd like you to practice them. Same thing would be this would be nice. Nice. That's nice. That's nice. Very nice. Very nice. That's very nice. That's very nice. Again, the difference between those two, the rise fall, nice. That means just energy, enthusiasm. It seems fun, neat, or something like that. But the other one, that's nice. There's a bit of a question there, right? It's almost like you are not certain or you're doubting the person what they're saying. So that's a difference between the two. So the one is enthusiasm, energy, kind of fun. The other one has a bit of something going on there, a question or a doubt, or maybe just hesitation in what you're saying. To me, that's the meaning of the fall rise. All right, now here's the kind of a silly embodied oral reading, but kind of fun. So this one is called Ducks on a Plane. So the mood is very enthusiastic, but you're on a very noisy subway or a plane. This is subway here, where you have to speak loudly. And in fact, it's probably a subway is a better vehicle than the plane. The plane might not be that loud, but a subway would be. But anyway, whatever. Anyway, could be ducks on a subway, ducks on a plane. All right. So you can see, as usual, the MT5s are below the line. You can see the capital letters there to tell you what syllable that you do the MT5 on. So the first one would be, I'll tell you what, let's do the first go it through first, just with the Tai Chi. So, excuse me, could you put my duck in the overhead? You got that? Excuse me, could you put my duck in the overhead? Very calm, right? Now, if we add the MT5 in there, we get something like, excuse me, could you put my duck in the overhead? So you got two energies. Excuse me, could you put my duck in the overhead? Now, if you do overhead, you can see you're kind of questioning, maybe not. But if you do it just with a rise. So, excuse me, could you put my duck in the overhead? That one is a more simple question. And it's like you're saying it's possible, right? The other one in the overhead, that one you're being very polite, or you're wondering maybe they can't do it. So that's the difference between the two there. So as you practice the line, do it like that. So first, like 1B, do it in the Tai Chi first. So sure, glad to, there you are. Do that again. Sure, glad to, there you are. Do really smoothly. Then this one has 3 rise falls. So sure, glad to, there you are. Boy, that really friendly person, right? And then 2A, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Let's say we did that with a fall last week. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Sounds more business-like, right? Right? Thank you very much. So thank you very much. So it's much. You can feel it. The tone goes up and actually comes down. Thank you very much. And again, when you're practicing this, we're not trying to be natural speech. We want to exaggerate it, okay? So when you do the embodied oral reading with kind of exaggerated lips and movement and more body, and then that helps to begin, as I said, by about week 5, you'll begin to see that carry over into your conversation as you're talking with people as well. Some of the movement, the energy, and the flow, that's all part of this. Okay, 2B, what do we got here? Okay, so 2B, we've got, well, let's do it first with a Tai Chi. You're welcome. Where are you from? Eh? You're welcome. Where are you from? Eh? Do real quick. You're welcome. Where are you from? Eh? And again, as I mentioned in a footnote here, I lived in Canada for 20 years. And many Canadians would end the sentence like this one with eh? So, again, kind of a friendly, happy conversation. You're welcome. Where are you from? Eh? Where are you from? Eh? So, where are you from? Eh? You can actually do it this way. Where are you from? Eh? You do it that way. So go over like this and then come back up the other side. Now you can do that too, either way. So you do, where are you from? Eh? Just slowly. But you could do it quickly, like a Canadian would. Where are you from? Eh? So you go over and then come back the other side like that. Take your choice. Take your pick there, or practice both ways. 3A, Japan. I'm a student here now. Oops, Japan. I'm a student here now. Now try to do it with the Tai Chi, but with the energy of the rise fall. Japan. I'm a student here now. I mean, oftentimes I will ask a student to do it this way. First, you do Tai Chi. Japan. I'm a student here now. Now do just the empty 5. Japan. I'm a student here now. Then go back and do it with the Tai Chi, just the Tai Chi. So Japan. I'm a student here now. That way, if you did that with me, you can hear it, right? You can feel it. You actually feel it in your body. You feel the movement up and down, kind of floating on that. And that's what we're after. So feel free to do that either way. Usually do Tai Chi, then do the rise, fall, and fall, rise maybe, then maybe do Tai Chi again. So you bring that in. Right? I mean, later I'll have you do it so you hold on to yourself and try to make the same beautiful sound, the same feeling and meaning without moving your body. That's kind of, well, we do that in about lesson 6, I think. Some really interesting technique. 3B. This is first we'll do the Tai Chi. Japan. Where in Japan? Japan. Where in Japan? Well, this has got a fall rise. Japan, which means it's a question, but I'm a little bit it's a little bit adding more excitement to it, or more interest, or more, oh my gosh, right? Japan. Where in Japan? Japan. Where in Japan? Then do it just with the Tai Chi. Japan. Where in Japan? Like, that's very interesting. It's more difficult to do the fall rise on that one. To get that fall rise right when you do that one. So practice that 3B. That's a very interesting one. And here we got 4A. Let's just do Tai Chi. Sendai, about 2 hours north of Tokyo by train. Do it again. Sendai, about 2 hours north of Tokyo by train. On this one too, try this. Kind of move your body forward as you do that. So do Sendai, 2 hours north of Tokyo by train. You can do it the other way too. Go left to right. Sendai, 2 hours north of Tokyo by train. And we will do all kinds of different ways of moving as we're speaking, as we go through the course. But you can see there just other ways to get your body flowing as you're doing the exercise. We've got a rise, fall, Sendai. Now here we have a choice. You could do about 2 hours, or you could do about 2 hours north of Tokyo by train. That's very common, like in the middle of a sentence like that, to get a rise there on that part. So I think most, I don't know, I'll have to check. I think most people would do that though. Sendai, about 2 hours, because your voice kind of goes up and stays there. About 2 hours, north of Tokyo by train. Now let's do it just with Tai Chi. Sendai, about 2 hours, north of Tokyo by train. Here your voice almost goes up the top of your head. About 2 hours, ooh, way up there. 4B, that's really a nice area. That's really a nice area. Again, these two people are just really excited to meet each other. Right? That's really a nice area. That's really a nice area. You could put that stress anywhere. That's really a nice area. That's really a nice area. That's really a nice area. To do it anywhere. But this one is probably the most typical place it would land. I mean, if you just show someone that sentence and you ask them, where's the stress? They didn't know the conversation. They'd probably say, that's really a nice area at the end. So if you have to guess, and if you have the conversation, it's not a lot of energy or emotion or anything, it's at the end, right? The main stress is going to be as far to the right as possible, okay? So that's really a nice area, 5A. Anyway, this is a great lesson. All kinds of ways you can play with this one. Just really relax as you're doing it. Okay, let's do 5A. It certainly is, but it's becoming very crowded. Either way. Now that time I did it with the last one. I did a fall rise. It certainly, let's just do just the rise, fall, and fall rises. So it certainly is. It's becoming, now you have a choice on the last one. You could say, it's coming very crowded or very crowded. If you do this one, very crowded That one is more negative. In other words, you're not quite as excited about it. But if you do, it's becoming very crowded. That way you're still happy and, oh, whatever. The crowding is not too bad. There you can see a little shade of difference between those two. Here's 5B. Same thing, that choice at the end. So let's do Tai Chi first. I've heard that. How long are you staying in Canada? That by Tai Chi again. I've heard that. How long are you staying in Canada? So that would be a normal conversation. These two people are just, they're really connecting. Maybe they'll be friends forever. All right. So I've heard that. How long will you be staying in Canada? Or I've heard that. How long will you be staying in Canada? That one, this we'd be staying in Canada. That with that question, a bit of a question on the end there, means I'm not too clear about exactly being a student, how long the person will be there. Right? Anyway, 6A, here's the answer, of course, and with rise falls on all three. So permanently, I'm going to be working in Toronto. Permanently, I'm going to be working in Toronto. See how fast you can do that one. Permanently, I'm going to be working in Toronto. Permanently, I'm going to be working in Toronto. Now let's do it with rise fall, and that slows it down. That's part of what it does. So you go, permanently, I'm going to be working in Toronto. The other thing about that one is that this time as you do it, you almost whisper the words in the middle. So permanently, I'm going to be working. I whispered at that time. So permanently, I'm going to be working in Toronto. And there you can see that I'm going to be working. See how soft that is? So we do it with Tai Chi. Permanently, I'm going to be working in Toronto. So myself, naturally, I'm not even sure that I even am saying the word I'm. Maybe not. I don't think I did. I may just not even have said it. So permanently, I'm going to be working in Toronto. Yeah, that time I left it out. I didn't even use the word I'm going. I just said permanently, I'll be working in Toronto. So my lips said it. My lips made the movements, but I did not make much voice at all, they said. And that's the reason, of course, why native speakers of English sometimes are really hard to understand. They put so much energy and meaning into these stressed words in each phrase, and because those words carry so much meaning, right? And you can understand, even though you don't get all the words that come in the middle. And that's part of what the Tai Chi is about. In the butterfly, permanently, I'm going to be working in Toronto. Every syllable. I'm focusing on every syllable, but light one's down here, heavy up here. This time, it's all about driving the energy to the stress syllable. And the last one, well, welcome to Canada, eh? Here's another one of those. I think you can do it when we do the rise fall. So it'd be, well, welcome to Canada, eh? That way. Well, welcome to Canada. Well, I mess it up. Well, welcome to Canada, eh? Or if I slowed it down just to, it's kind of a nice final. So about, well, welcome to Canada, eh? That might be the way I would finish the conversation with a kind of a warm, eh? Hi, come on in, something like that. All right. One more little quick one we'll do here before we finish. This is called a haptic sidestep. And you can stand up or sit down and do this one. The idea here is we're going to go from left to right. The idea here is with a touch on with your left hand on the bottom, right hand on top. It's A, B, C, D, E, F. A, B, C, D, E, F. A, B, C, D, D, F. A, B, C, D, A, B, C, D, E, F. A, B, C, D, E, F, G. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I. And see how far in the alphabet you can get. I had a student about a year ago, did the entire alphabet, all 24 letters in one streak, in one movement, as they were going from left to right. So good into practice that one. And next week, if you come to the Wednesday night session, then we'll have a little competition and see who can the most letters in one movement, going from right to left on the haptic sidestep. Again, often we'll do it with a Tai Chi, or like I did, like with kind of a hammer movement, something like that. But again, that's the pattern. And a native speaker, sometimes if they get really excited, and depending on where they live in the US and Canada, some places have longer rhythm groups than others. All right, and here's your homework. Again, every day, just it says there, you can just do the work, keep notes. And then remember on day 5, remember day 5 from last week, after you've worked on, like on Monday or Tuesday, then you find us something like in a book or something in a magazine or something that has some conversation. And you do the same thing. You'll be using a Tai Chi with it. Last week, I asked you to just do the syllable butterfly, just like the embodied oral reading. This time you use the Tai Chi, and maybe you go through it first and you mark the stressed words and use the Tai Chi on the stressed words as you're doing it. All right, so there's a Wednesday feedback session. Again, if you want to come to that, email me. And the reason I do that is that just so you don't waste your money, that it costs $250 and get a lot of personal attention. But I want to make sure that if you're paying for it, the course is good for you and that you have enough time. Two things. One, that it's the right difficulty for you. And two, you as a person, if you have enough time to do it. Because if you don't have time, then don't waste your money. Okay. But if you do, if you can spend about 20 minutes a day, something like that, maybe 30, you can make terrific progress with this course. Let's see what else. Then number C, check out Legal Shield and ID Shield. There's my website there. And I say that because later on in the course, if you subscribe, if you enroll in the course, I'll be doing things with ID Shield because kind of working on your identity as you're speaking and how it connects up to your identity in general. And that's the company I work with as well. So anyway, that about halfway through the course, I'll kind of introduce that to you, and I'll be using it to help you kind of get an idea, maybe a new picture of what your identity is like yourself. Let's see, I think that's about it. Oh, anyway, there's my email address. And like I said, this is really an important lesson. Spend some time on this one, go back and spend some time on lesson 1 if you can. Those two, if you get 1 and 2 down really well, and you can do them pretty naturally, you just got a terrific start for the course. Like that. All right. I think that about does it. I hope you have the time for the course. And again, particularly it's always fun if you are a member of the course. Then we'll do some video, kind of a little pre-video, and a little video of you later, so you can really appreciate and understand how much progress you have made. So there you are. Been fun.